right. Good morning, everyone. And sorry I'm a couple of minutes later than usual. Normally we try to do this around 9. Um, Technical stuff. As you all can see, I'm in a different place right now. That's because, as I've been leading up to for the past month or so, we are relocating out from New Jersey into Indiana, and we're gonna, that means I had to close my office because we're actually making the move in about 2 weeks. So I'm not sure if this is going to be the last Saturday session for a couple of weeks, or if it's something that you know we are going to be able, or if we're going to be able to keep doing them another week or not. It all depends because as we start packing up the house, that means I'm going to start running out of space to do stuff. All right. So, one of the things we are going to start taking care of today is we're good. I got a treat for you guys. See, originally I was supposed to have a group member on the call live with me. Scheduling problems. It's Saturday. I don't expect anybody to get up very early to do stuff. It would have been nice, but it happens. And oh, here we are. Actually, we might just be able to go ahead and get this done. All right, hold on. They just reached back out. Let me go ahead and send the information. All right. So as soon as we are joined, we are going to go ahead and make this happen. I mean, this might take a minute, so I don't know. Please bear with us. But we, since you can tell we're live. All right, since we are going to now have a guest, assuming everything goes good and she is able to join in with us, we are going to do a deep dive of the territory to help with recruiting and a little bit of marketing all at the same time. It's one of my specialties and something that I really believe is important, and it's something that I believe can be very helpful. All right, so if you guys hear background noise, there's everybody's fine. My my family is with me, and I'm at home, so my kids are very young and they are probably screaming and running around upstairs. In fact, they are screaming and running around upstairs. I hear them now. So I apologize ahead of time for anybody watching this live or on the replay. So, all right, let's give a couple of more minutes. Let's see if we are going to be joined. All right, so good morning. Good morning. Just while we're waiting, give us a thumbs up if you hear me right. If you are watching, hi. All right, so I don't know what's going on. Let's see. All right. All right, so our guest will hopefully join us soon. For now, let's go ahead and do this. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay. And when she joins us, we're gonna go ahead and bring her on the live stream. All right, no, that's not going to work. Here we are. All right. So as you guys can see on the screen, I have up a demographic map of the surrounding area of Naperville, Illinois. All right. Again, this is where we were going to take a look here, and we were going to do this with our guest, and we're still waiting to see if she joins us. So what's going to happen is just a couple of things to point out. We are trying to see if I can get the resolution bigger on this, or if I can. There we go. All right, so this makes it easier for me to see. All right, so first, if you are watching us on live. We are currently live streaming on Indeed. I'm sorry, LinkedIn, and on our Facebook private group. All right, so if you're watching this, don't forget to follow us. We are. If you're on the group, give us a thumbs up. Let people know you're here watching. And if you're on Indeed, give us a follow. We do live trainings periodically, and I'll either simulcast to LinkedIn, or what I will do is post the YouTube replay. All right, so here we have um, Napersville. All right. Okay, hold on. Let me just do a quick check again, see where our guest is. All right, I think we're experiencing technical difficulties on our guest's end. So let's take a look. All right. So, well, she'll be back. Either way, this is her general territory. So let's take a look here. What are we looking at? We're looking at a income demographic map. So one of the big challenges that people have is recruitment, especially in today's world. And now the reason I wanted to talk about this is because there's a couple of really key points that when people are doing recruitment, they really fail to understand. Okay. And I hear a lot of the experts on different social media channels and at conferences, and I've met a couple of people that are really excellent at the recruitment process. Okay, and but the general issue is that a lot of times people fail to understand that. Okay, people fail to understand that in the end, there's actually a difference when you're recruiting for private pay versus Medicaid or other government payer source. All right, and this is where it gets interesting, to say the least. All right, now why do I mean by that? There's an actual difference. So there's a number of things that are going to go into play when we're talking about recruitment and why we need to understand different things. So the first thing is you have to know when you're looking at your service area, where do your clients live? All right. So where, here we are. So where do your clients live? Because if you're trying to service private pay clients, you're not going to find them in the same neighborhoods that you're going to find your Medicaid client, your state waiver client, your VA client, Veterans Affairs. Unless they're taking aid and attendance. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into play, a lot of different factors. All right. So by understanding that first, and again, before anybody kills me in the comments section, yes, there are exceptions. Yes, when I've run home care agencies, when I've done marketing, when I've done recruitment, I have been able to find in some of the poorer neighborhoods really solid private pay clients. I've also been able to find, clients that rely on government payer sources in wealthy neighborhoods. There's always variables. Nothing is set in stone, and I get that. Right. So the what we need to look at specifically, all right, is we're going to look in very general sense, where is it that we are trying to get. So now let's take a look. So if we look at the median household income, okay, for Illinois, the state of Illinois, okay, it is $68,428. Okay. Now, please understand, this is median. Okay. That doesn't mean that it is an average. What it is if you take the highest paid individual and the lowest paid in a household, you take their household income and you go smack in the middle. That is the median household income. Now, if we're going to look at the percentage of people in poverty throughout the state, it's about 11%. So why does this information help me? Well, it helps me because if we're looking at this map and if we're taking a look, the closer to yellow, all right, down here, the lower the median income on this map. The darker the green, the higher the income levels are on the map. All right. So this is important. If we know that 68,000 is the median, okay, and now if we take a look at the per capita income, that means the amount of money that people are making. Typically, it's like per 100,000. All right, it's around 37,000. So this is where we get the 68,000 from. Okay, so we have your individual making about 37,000, and your household making an average of 68,000. All right, so that's going to be important when we're looking at this. So if I'm looking in Naperville specifically, I know that Naperville is floating right around that range. Okay, so if I look at the surrounding areas, that this tells me that if I had an office in Naperville, Illinois, I would be well poised to service both private pay and government payer source. But at Briones Consulting Group, we focus on the private pay sector. All right, but I'm going to talk about recruitment in general because again, it could be one of these things where we're looking at how to break down and what and where to find caregivers for this conversation. All right. So once we understand where our clients live, all right, if we were looking for private pay, it would be probably in closer to these areas. All right. And if we were looking for Medicaid, I would say in these areas, you would find them also like Naperville, Warrenville. You would have some, all right, not that you would find a tremendous amount. I would say near Aurora, you would probably like over in this area, you would probably find more. All right. And this is going to help us kind of identify where we're looking at. So now that we know the general breakdown of income, all right, median income, and again, doesn't mean that in Wheatland that there isn't poor people, and it doesn't mean that in Aurora there aren't wealthy people. It just means that we are looking at the median. Okay, so how does this affect us when it comes to caregivers? Well, there's a few points when we're talking about specifically how to hire caregivers that we want to look at. So let's start with if we were looking for caregivers that work or live that I'm sorry, that are willing to work in areas where our private pay clients will have a higher likelihood of living. Okay, so let's make a few adjustments here. Okay, we don't need that. We do not need centers of higher learning. All right, for now, unless you're looking for nurses, then we would, like, if we were looking for nurses in particular, we would be doing a breakdown of higher learning or higher education. All right, so now we're going to take a look at this. Here we have hospitals. All right, we also are going to look. We're also looking at the excuse me. We're also going to take a look over here at parking. Parking is a good thing. Again, I'm not very familiar with the Naperville area. I'm just using this as a general example. But I usually like to do these examples with places I do not know. All right. So what we do what we do look at here is hospitals. We have parking. All right. These are things we want to take a look at. We don't really care about golf courses. Okay. We're also looking at, um, we're also taking a look at ERs. All right. So we know, all right, if anybody's been following me for any period of time, if you are in an urban area, it's going to be about 4 to 5 miles from the closest hospital. If you're in the suburbs, it's about 5 to 6.5 miles, maybe 7 miles, all right, to the closest hospital. If you're in a rural area, it's somewhere between 9.5 and 12 miles. Okay. So if we know this, okay, and we know that we have a median household income of 68,000, and we know that Naperville is here when that's 60 to 74,000, we are going to take a look. Hold on. I hope I did not lose the feed here. Okay. All right. Anybody still watching? Please give me a thumbs up if you still saw this. My internet's a little sketchy at home at times. Um, anyone? Thumbs up. All right. All right. There, people might be only half watching right now. All right. So so that's going to be a point of interest. So another thing. All right. Thank you very much. All right. So another thing that we are taking a look at here, all right, is that we have to understand how far are people willing to go to work. All right, so let's say my office was in Naperville, Illinois, and I was struggling to find caregivers that, to service clients down here in here we are. I'm not really sure what the city is. Again, I am not terribly familiar with Illinois. I've only been there a handful of times in my life and never specifically to Naperville. So if my office was here and I was looking for, clients in whatever 60565 is down here, all right, I would want to know, why aren't my caregivers going out there? Well, most people are willing to travel. Usually, it's the statistic says about 10 miles to 15 miles to go to work. So even if, let's just say for argument's sake, that we just can't seem to find, we need to know if this area here is even realistic. So how are we going to do this? Well, let's take a look. All right. So we take this hospital here. Okay. I think there we go. Edward, hold on. Edward Hospital main campus. All right. So if we're going to take the hospital, what do we know? Well, right off the bat, we know one thing. People work in hospitals. Okay? We have to. So if people work in hospitals, because if they didn't work in the hospital couldn't stay open. So that means that if I was going to find places, I would want to focus in within 10 miles of that hospital. Okay? And if you notice, that's a pretty big area. All right? Here we are. So we have this entire area that we could look at for potential caregivers. All right, so now let's take this a step further. Now that we know that that's the geographic area where our caregivers will potentially live, okay? Somewhere within this 10-mile radius, we know that people are coming to drive to work at this hospital. So when you're hearing from caregivers, oh, that's too far, well, you might not be looking at this, because some of these same caregivers that you're trying to hire, there's CNAs, the home health aides, even LPNs, depending on the skill level of service you're providing, they are driving that far. Okay, they are. Some of them are driving over to here. Some of them are starting up here in the Winnefield area. Some of them are living in Aurora, but only willing to drive over here. at New Harvest International, wherever that is. I'm not sure if where that emergency room is. Again, I'm not familiar with the area, so I apologize. But this would normally be an interactive conversation. So let's take a look now. So what else do we need to know? Well, we need to know a couple of things about caregivers. So if we are going to target specifically caregivers that are going to work or have a higher likelihood of working in the private pay space. We know that your average caregiver makes between 17 and 19,000 a year. Okay, that's average. But here's the part that they don't tell you. Okay, when you're taking that into account, you're looking at it from the perspective of caregivers that are working for government payer source agencies. 70%, mind you. All right. It's like 72% if you want to really be specific. So we want to target that other 28% because if most of them work for agencies that or for services that are paid by government payer sources and we're looking for private pay, we want the balance. So the balance is it's right around 28 to 32,000 a year is what your average caregiver makes working for a private pay agency. Typically private pay agencies can afford to pay a little more and therefore they have the ability to provide steadier hours. Bigger agencies even have restrictive minimum hours, not just your 12 to 20 hours a week, which I'm going to tell you, especially if you're a newer service provider, if you don't have a minimum hours on your bill rate, you're going to have a problem. You're going to run into problems down the road. All right. I'm not saying don't take those 1 or 2 hour cases. I'm saying there's a technique to take them to still make you profitable and to entice caregivers to come. Anybody who wants to book a strategy session, just get a hold of me. You can find us at thebrionesgroup.com. All right. So let me take a look here. All right. So now when we're looking at this, we need to understand that. So because we are looking for people earning that 28 to 32,000 a year, okay? That means we need to start right around here for household income, median household income. We're also going to take this down one notch below. All right. So our goal when we're looking for private pay caregivers in any given area is going to be a median household income of 25,000 up to 49,000. And you're probably sitting there asking yourself, "Well, Julio, why are we going to look at 49,000 if they're only making 28 to 32?" Well, the thing is, there's a couple of other factors, demographic issues that we're going to take a look at, and I'm going to explain this down the road, okay? So the next issue that we're looking at here is female, okay? While a lot of people are going to be upset, oh, why are you singling out female over male? Well, it's not that I'm singling out. We're going with statistical averages. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, according to most research studies out there, and according to my 20 years experience working in home care and the fact that I did the bulk of the beginning of my career as a recruiter, 89% of all care, I'm sorry, 85% of all caregivers, home health aides, CNAs, nurses, so on and so forth, are female. It's a fact. Okay. It's not a sexist thing. It's not anything. It's just a fact. So we're going to look for females. Now we're going to move on to age. All right. What are we looking at? Why is age important? Well, there's a number of factors. We not only want caregivers that are going to work, that have a higher likelihood of working in the private pay space. We are also looking for reliable caregivers that are less likely to call out. And again, I'm painting with a very broad brush here. When I do these sessions one on one with people, we have a lot of feedback, a lot of conversation. There's a lot more behind the scenes that I'm just not doing. This is not a full on session with somebody. This is just general population demographic analysis for understanding purposes. All right. So the fact is, Generally speaking, younger women that work in the home care space have a tendency, not that all of them do, to be single moms. Okay. They also have a tendency to have, when they are single mothers, they have a tendency to have younger children. And that's only common sense. If you're 19, 20 years old, the odds are you have younger children than if you're in your 30s or 40s. Okay. Again, there's exceptions to everything. I am one. I'm about to be 46 in a couple of months. My kids, are 3 and 6. But I also have a 23-year-old. So it's just one of those things. There's tendencies and then there's exceptions to every rule, and I do understand that. And again, everybody's situation is a little bit different. This is for example purposes only. By the way, if you're liking this so far, please, if you're watching this on live on the Facebook group, leave a comment below. Are you finding this information useful? If you're watching this live on LinkedIn, give us a thumbs up and don't forget to follow the company. And if you are on YouTube watching the replay, please give us a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I'm finding that only about 10% of people that watch us regularly, you guys are watching this regularly, you're just not subscribed to the channel, and that really helps because the more subscribers I get, the more likely I am to continue to do content. And so far, you guys are doing great. I love doing this. All right, so let's move along. All right, so now when we're looking for private pay caregivers, we're looking for people that are going to be more reliable. We're talking about age. Ideally, we want to focus in on people who are in the 35 to 54 range. All right. So let's take a look at this. So far, we're looking at 25 to 49,000 a year, female, and 35 to 54. You're probably asking yourself, why? Why are we being this specific? Well, the fact is this. Again, very generally speaking. All right. Uh, Thank you. Thank you, Miss Brown. I really appreciate this. All right. So, very generally speaking, when we are talking about caregivers, all right, we are talking about older people, more reliable, more stable. If my children are more adult and they are working, contributing, this is why the higher household income. All right, because if someone in the age range of 35 to 54, their children are older, meaning they're in school typically. And again, this is very broad brush stuff, okay? Not specifics, but typically they are older. Typically, that means the kids are in school, which means lower likelihood of them calling out because they can't find childcare. Okay? Let's think about this. And that means that during the peak hours, that hours that most clients want, you're going to have a stable home environment where somebody is not worried about what's going to happen with my kids while I'm at work. They're slightly older, which means that there's a lower likelihood of an emergency call out. At least more times than not, the caregiver will be aware if her children are not feeling well, but they went to school anyway, and they can inform the office or inform the client, hey, I have to be on my phone or I have to be mindful of my phone because my kid's not feeling very good. So as long as you're developing an internal culture, that breeds open communication, that fosters this clear and transparency between you and your caregivers, you're going to see a reduction in call-offs, a reduction in no-shows because you're hiring right. You're looking for that. The other reason is women 35 to 54 that are earning a little bit higher, their goal is to usually get off or stay off public assistance because their kids are a little bit older, things are a little more affordable. So you have a lower likelihood of caregivers coming to you saying, hey, listen, I need that letter to be able to continue to get government assistance. Or I'm running close to the time of my reevaluation. So for the next 4 weeks or 6 weeks, I can only work 12 hours a week. All right. And again, I'm not knocking anybody. Look, we all run into hard times. We do. And Look, you do what you got to do to survive in this world, and if you need government assistance, great, great. More, I hope you use it right, and you're using it to eventually get yourself into an upwardly mobile situation. But that's what we're looking for. We're looking for that caregiver that has a little bit more ambition to move forward. Also, generally speaking, we are going to want to look within this 10-mile radius of that hospital for caregivers. All right, caregivers that typically in that age group, they are either in a long-term partnered relationship or married. Okay, again, not everybody. I get it. There's, you know, people will blow up my comment section saying, no, 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 it's, we have, I'm going to be single forever. Or what about LGBTQ? Look, that's what I'm telling you very specifically. Typically speaking, long term partnered relationships or married. I'm not assigning gender to it. I really don't, I don't subscribe to most of that stuff. It is what it is. All right. But it's about stability of the household, nothing else. So this is what it is moving on. So, what's the next thing we're looking for? Okay. One of the things we really want to see, I'm going to skip over race because honestly, if you're hiring based on race, you've got a whole other set of issues. All right. And the thing is, we're all equal opportunity employers, and you need to make sure your clients understand that. Yes, you are going to have clients that are going to say, well, I don't want them unless they're white, or I don't want them unless they're this or unless they're that. And we'll save that training for another day because that is a very specific, very difficult conversation to have with the client at times. But that is not our concern right now. So nor it depends on and this will really depend on the conversation that we're having with ownership when we're doing this on a one-to-one basis. Okay, so what does this, whether or not we're looking for children of a certain age, anything like that, that's going to depend regionally, and that's not something I want to assume on anything. But one thing we do want to look at is households with one person who is 65 and older. All right. We recently did a training with Augusta.care, the Augusta Homecare recruiting. Okay. And one of the things that was brought up during that webinar that is just really true and really important to understand. Family caregivers make great home health aides, make great CNAs. They already have that passion and that drive to help your clients because they're doing it at home. And if they're doing it at home and they've dedicated their life to this, why wouldn't they be open to doing it to earn a living? They already know what they're doing. They don't need a lot of training. So if you're not targeting them, then we have another set of issues. Okay. The rest of this, um, there is other things to take into consideration, like um, when it comes to education. One of the things we do, I'm not going to mark it off on this particular search, but we want to find people that have some sort of higher education. What do I mean by that? Okay, let me be specific here. Better the people who are upwardly mobile, that have ambition, that want to earn a little bit more, that are going to be good, solid, dependable caregivers in the private pay space. All right, those caregivers, they are typically looking for somebody to recognize their achievements. So they will have done something extra. They will have gone, they would have either finished high school or got their GED and maybe tried their hand at a couple of college classes. Some of the better caregivers have done that. You'll see that CNAs are proud of the fact that they are a CNA and not just a home health aide. You will see these home health aides or CNAs being proud of the fact that, hey, I took phlebotomy class, I took an EKG class, I'm CPR certified. Anything extra that goes above and beyond the basic job requirement, they will be proud of those achievements. They will put them on their resume. They will put them on their job application. During the interview, when you ask them, hey, what do you bring to the table? They will talk about it. They will talk about it, and you will see them light up because they're like, I did this. All right. So these are things that you want to take a look at when you're looking at all of this. And as you see, I go through a lot of details here. All right. But for now, we're just going to stick to these. So let's take a look here. So what does all this data mean? All right. Because right now it just looks like a bunch of stuff on the map. Okay. And the final point that I'm going to talk about here. Okay. And we're going to bring this up just briefly. Within this 10-mile radius, one thing that I have learned from my own experience of doing this, and there's a lot of studies that back up this information, and that is looking for houses of worship. Caregivers that tend to spend 2 or more years with a company, caregivers that tend to spend more time with a client, okay, with the same client, caregivers that tend to have um, higher retention rates and a deep passion for what they do are religious. I don't care what religion it is, but know what religion is in your area. Okay, so if we were actually going to take a look, you know, at, let's see, predominant religion in Illinois, it's Catholic. Okay, while the Catholics, and then we have here, and Muslims bypass Mormons. So we're looking for mosques. We're looking for um, Latter Day Saint temples. No, not Jehovah's. I'm sorry, Seventh Day. What is it? Mormon? Yeah, the Latter Day Saints. All right, and we are looking for. We're going to look for a lot of Catholic churches because those are the three main religions in Illinois. So if you want to find good caregivers, start there. Okay. So what all of this means? Well, let's take a look at what it all means. So we're going to look at all of this data and let's take a look at it in a way that it makes sense, not just, a bunch of dots and stuff on a screen. Let's take a look. Hold on. We're producing because all of this leads to this really extra schmancy report. All right. So here we are. So if we were to look at all of this, okay? If we were to look at it by zip code, all right, by household income, 5-digit zip code, the household income, the female, look at the numbers. Take a look at them. Print them out. Not print them out, but take a look, analyze how many households. So if I were to look and do a side by side of all of these zip codes, this is where I'm going to begin my marketing campaigns. Okay. If I'm my marketing for recruitment, if I'm trying to target these areas and I know that this is where the highest likelihood of finding caregivers, this is how I'm going to talk to my digital media manager and say, hey, listen, when we run pay-per-clicks, when we run Facebook ads, when we're zeroing in, my website needs to really hit these areas. When, and this is keywords, things like this that I'm going to look for. All right. All of this is what I'm going to do to really get a detailed analysis of where it is we're trying to go. Okay. What is it that we are trying to produce? All right. So all of my ad campaigns, all of my recruitment, everything that I'm doing, if I'm going to print out flyers and I'm going to go and do the normal routine for recruitment, I'm going to hit those supermarkets, nail salons, laundromats, churches, all of these things. I'm going to take a look at it through the lens of data. I'm going to take a look at it through the lens of this is the information I need to have the highest success rate. And I'm going to look for this information here. highest percentages. If I am looking for households, high percentage of households or high number of households in a particular zip code with this, you know, I'm going to say, hey, listen, in proportion to households within the 25 to 34,000, we have 600 households in zip code 60510, and 200% of those households, in other words, double, is in the 25 to 30, 205% of the that it's in. I'm sorry, in within that zip code. Same thing. Hey, only half a percent in proportion in zip code 60134 have 35 to 49,000. 10% of the population fit this age group, fit that they're female, and all of this. And these are the things that we're going to look at while here. All right, so I got a couple of minutes. Let's take a look here. All right. Here we go. No. And here. All right. So I got time for I got time for maybe one question. Anybody have any questions? Questions, comments, concerns, anything that you want me to answer very quickly. One question. I got a couple of minutes left. All right. All right. Well, listen, if you would like one of these analyses for yourself, or if you're a franchisor interested in having us go through this with your franchisees, or if you're an independent owner, look, these analyses, and we do a much deeper dive when it comes to the marketing one than we do with recruiting. But understanding the demographics, understanding this, how do you get this geographic? Yeah, that's what I'm. All right, here we go. Yeah, contact us, okay? And we can set up a time. We can dig through this deep. We can go through and really break down everything for you in your area. All right. Now, Miss Brown, I believe this is your area, isn't it? Like this is near where your office is, or your office fits within these geographics. Just give me a quick thumbs up if my job is located in Naperville. Okay. All right. So does this? Where is? All right. We'll talk after then. Just shoot me a message, and we'll talk after to talk about doing something like this. Doing something like this for you, but as of now, the if anyone else is actually interested in this, give us a shout. We are located at no, not located. I'm sorry. You can find us at the brionasgroup.com. Okay. All right. There we go. And if you are interested in working with us, all right. Give me a second. You can send an email. This is our avatar program here, and we could set up a time with you to talk and go over this. All right. There you go. Avatar at thebrionasgroup.com. You can reach out to us, let us know. We'll set up a time and we can discuss, our fees to what you're looking for. We do have three different options. One just for marketing if you need one for your territory. We have one option for recruitment if you're struggling with recruitment. And recruitment specifically is not limited to home care agencies. We do this for home health, for hospice, for hospitals, for skilled nursing facilities, and for assisted living facilities, because we all are looking for a similar pool of client base. All right, so send us an email, avatar at thebrionasgroup.com. We'll Let us know what you're interested in, and we'll reach back out and set up a time to go over this, or visit us on our website at thebrionasgroup.com and set up an appointment with us. Now, some of the information on the website is not 100% accurate. We are rebuilding it. So you may, right now, I'm going to tell you honestly, the best bet is send me the email. But by the time you're watching the replay of this on YouTube, our website will be up. It's expected to be up no later than Tuesday, I believe it's 18th or 19th of this week. All right. So thank you all for watching. I really do appreciate the support and everything else. And, we will talk later, and, catch us next time. I'll be posting in the group and on our YouTube channel. I'll be doing a quick post to let everybody know if we are doing another live session next Saturday or not. As I mentioned before, we are in the middle, like my family and I are in the middle of moving, and we're going to open a second location and actually moving my whole family out to Indiana. The New Jersey office will likely be closed by the end of the year, but I'm going to keep it to maintain certain clients that I have in the area. All right. It'll probably just be a satellite office for a while, but our main office, our headquarters, is moving to Indiana, in the Indianapolis area. All right. So thank you all. I appreciate it. You guys have a great day, and we'll catch you guys next time.